This is Brendon Small from Dethklok, and you're listening to Interview Under Fire.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Interview Under Fire. This is your host, Sunny, the one and only. And today I am pretty much beyond excited to welcome a mastermind behind one of the most unique forces in heavy music and animation, Brendon Small of Dethklok. I can't believe I'm even saying that. I mean, how are you, dude? Happy New Year. Can I even say that at this point? We're
Sure, why
well into
not?
the
I'll take it.
February. We'll
Well,
be
it is
probably doing a lot of reflecting here on this
well,
conversation, but how are you,
it's
dude?
all, it's the Chinese New Year. It's the
It
the
is.
year
You're
of
the
the fire
horse.
horse. So that is
Thunder
brand new
Horse.
this week. No, it is. It's the fire
Yeah,
horse,
it is.
really.
It is.
And we have a
Yeah.
song called Horse of Fire
That's true. That's
off the
true.
newest record. So I've been seeing people have been tagging me in Fire Horse New Year stuff. So happy New Year to you, Year of the Fire Horse.
Yeah. Brendan, obviously, it's definitely an honor to have you here. And of course, happy belated birthday, if I'm not mistaken. It was
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah. So happy birthday on that.
thank
I
you.
know 2026 marks a huge milestone, 20 years of Metalocalypse and Dethklok. We just talked about it on the pre-interview. I mean, which is wild to think about. I mean, what started as an animated satire somehow became a legitimate charting metal act, a touring powerhouse, of course. We talked about that, and honestly, one of the most creative crossovers between TV and extreme music that I mean, we've ever seen. I think I speak for a lot of the metalhead fans out there. Now with the Amon Clock Conquest Tour alongside Amon Amarth, I mean, you're celebrating that legacy in a massive way. Before we obviously dive into everything, how has this like anniversary year been treating you so far? I mean, 10 years is one thing, right? But you're 2 decades in. You kind of have to, it's not easy to do that, but here you are, man.
It's kind of well, this whole show has always been out of the ordinary. From the very beginning, we knew that we wanted to I just thought I'm having a conversation with me when I was discovering heavy music, and that's what I thought. It's like me talking to a 14-year-old version of me,
Of course.
and 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 so I just thought that kid didn't really get spoken to on television before. It also wouldn't it be cool to have that conversation with people and started a conversation with people that really do appreciate that kind of stuff and maybe turn some people on to heavy metal that didn't know because it sometimes it won't come it won't find you.
No.
I
Yeah.
my older sister wasn't listening to heavy metal. She was listening to like pop music. I had to luckily make friends with a guy who's still my good friend who showed me everything about heavy metal in one afternoon after, junior high. And I thought that's such an important thing to a young person to kind of sculpt out their personality through musical choices. Because if you're a 13, 14-year-old kid, what do you have? You don't have a driver's license. You don't have any money. You're living under somebody else's rules. You've got nothing. All you have is the music you choose to listen to. So I thought that's my audience of the people that kind of that take music seriously and also like comedy and also like
Of
characters
course.
and all that stuff. And how can I wad it all up and put it all in a suitcase and try to sit on it to close it and put so much stuff in there that each week you'd have to rewatch it to kind of get everything. And so that was the idea. And also it's it was in production, out of production. We made a movie in 2023, which
Yeah.
kind of and in 2019 we kind of kicked the door back open by participating in this Adult Swim big festival. So we thought let's see if we can use this kind of door opening to do some cool stuff because I thought that we never got to play as much as we could. And our live show is really a lot of fun. And it's like, to me, I feel like we're in a traveling carnival. And when we were like, step right up and get on and ride this crazy roller coaster with us. It should be more fun and more exciting than other shows that you see. And that's the whole idea. So, and through those 20 years, we kept sculpting the show and fixing little tiny things just so it's more fun for the audience. And so that's what's exciting about this year. And doing this co-headliner tour with Amon Amarth is going to be really exciting because to me, the tour is the best of all of the world's Metalocalypse. We have the
Yeah.
TV show, we have the records, but this live show kind of combines everything and makes it electric and fun and immediate. So that's kind of the idea.
On that note, I was gonna touch on that a little bit later, but
Yeah.
since you brought it up, the live experience, right? Dude, by the way, I think you came through. Now I'm thinking about the live shows. You came through with Chimera one
Oh
time,
yeah.
didn't you? This
That's what
was
I would call our
holy
first
shit.
first
That
real
was
tour.
yeah.
Chimera and Soylent Green.
Did you guys open? I think Soylent Green opened. It were
Think yeah, I don't yeah, Soylent Green may have opened. Well, we had the power of TV with us, so we didn't really
yes,
have, and I was still, that was like me kind of figuring out how this live thing was working. We had a projector. I had to like crouch low and try to be underneath the frame line. Since
yeah.
then we've kind of elevated and elevated what our live show is, but at its core it's very similar in that we are playing the picture to create something bigger than just the sound and just the picture. And so that's kind of the idea. But yeah, throughout the years, we've done some cool. Mastodon we toured
Yeah,
with.
right there.
That was
Yeah.
really
Shout
cool.
out to those guys.
I know. I hung with them earlier this year or last year.
Yeah.
And I talked to Braun all the time, so friendships were forged and all that stuff.
Some of the greatest dudes, and of course, shout out to the late great, Brent Hines. They signed this post for me. You can't see, but I got to meet all those guys
Yeah,
on
Brent
that
Hines is a
tour. What is it, 2021 when they came through with Opeth? Opeth just came through a couple days ago, actually, through Dallas. Now that we're talking
yeah.
about that, but dude, the
That's
live
cool.
performance, man, I'm gonna say this too. I was actually one of the photographers at that show when you guys came through with Baby Metal. We had another photographer on our staff, and they were like, why are we shooting far back from this band called Dethklok? Why can't I see it? And they didn't know.
Yeah,
My friend Corey and I,
yeah,
we had to like educate, like, hey, this is actually how they started. This is what they are. And then of
yeah.
course they got exposed to Dethalbum 4, and I'm still talking to this person, and they're like, holy crap, this is I had no idea this was a thing. Dethklok
Yeah,
shows.
yeah. I mean, some people don't know it and some people know it very intimately. But yeah, it's yeah, that's part of our thing is our people ask to shoot the show and they want to go in the photo pit and we go, I don't think so because it's shooting like what I'm basically like an actor on stage
It's great.
and it's my idea is to get out of the way so your imagination can take over. And that's the idea. It's like you can acknowledge me, you can see us on stage.
Yeah.
Gene Hoglan is there. I mean, he's a powerhouse,
Dude,
super
Gene, like
legend.
like no big
Yeah.
deal. Like one of the greatest, at least from my perspective, one
Oh
of the
yeah.
greatest drummers out there. Both of my brothers
From
are
my
drummers, so
perspective,
I
he
paid
is the
it.
greatest drummer. Yeah.
Yeah, no argument there. And Death Clock shows, excuse me, they've always been described as like a multimedia assault, like the animation, the storytelling, and the blistering musicianship, if I can even say that, happening all at once. And when translating something that outrageous from animation to the real stage. I I know you vaguely touched on that, but what were the biggest challenges early on for you, Brendan? Because I know you're trying to figuring things out. It's like, man, this is crazy. I didn't think I'd be like taking this to the stage now. Okay, what do I do here? Okay, do I have to stand here? Okay, how does this animation go? Okay, we got to just even choreography to a certain extent, right?
Well, I mean, the idea was it was all, I mean, I go back to this. There's this one day I remember meeting with with Tommy, the co-creator, who was in the early days of the show.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember we were kind of like working on the pitch of the show, and it was just like we were just having coffee outside of Starbucks, and we were just going like, okay, if we can have this amount of episodes, then I can write music in each episode, not a full song because I don't think we have time for it, but enough to kind of give you the information, the DNA of a song, and I'll
Hmm.
give you like verse, chorus, maybe solo, etc. But it'll probably be 30 seconds each one of these things. If I could take these all, elongate them at the end of the season, put them on a record, if we do well enough where I can get money to make a record, then we'll do that. And how do you tour it? Well, what did the Gorillas do? And I went and I think it was at the time, like this is so long ago, I would get like the Netflix to deliver me a Gorillaz concert and the paper and everything.
Oh my
And
gosh,
I watched that and I was like,
that's
well, they're
great.
playing behind a scrim and that's cool and everything. And their animation is gorgeous. These guys are great songwriters. It's all super cool. But I think you miss a little bit of the connection with the audience, even if they are shadows. I think people need to see the musicians that are generating the stuff because we live in an era where you could just play to a track and
Yeah.
you may not be able to discern that. So I thought it's important to show the presence of the musicians on stage. I do not need to be acknowledged. In fact, my joke now is, and I think this is true, is that I am bad for the brand. You shouldn't be looking at me. You should be hearing me. We sound exactly like Dethklok. We don't look anything like them. So if we can be these kind of stoic shadows,
Hmm.
and then your eye is on the prize, which is our gigantic, we've brought a gigantic television set into your concert venue so we can show you these crazy cartoons that are sliced and diced like drum programming almost. The editing is like so tight with downbeats coinciding with cuts. And so this is a lighting show that we have behind us. Started thinking about that and then start adding smoke and more extra external lights. And the show keeps on building throughout the years. So but the hardest part was, you can sit there and record stuff all day long, but singing and playing that's where it takes some muscles and it takes and I've learned a lot over the years as becoming a live performer. Nowadays, I really, really, really like the challenge. I mean, adding new music into it that
Yep.
we haven't played live before is a great challenge because I go, holy shit, how am I supposed to play this riff and then bark out these vocals on top? Well, I didn't do it at the same time because that's not how you record necessarily, but now I'm gonna have to figure it out, and I've had to do that all the time. So nothing is natural about it. I sit there and I work and work and work and hone it out so that I can get it in front of everybody and make sure everything's as tight as possible. Working with Gene Hoglan, he doesn't like tell anybody what to do, but he just raises the bar so hard because he's such a perfectionist musician so that to come anywhere near his level of musicianship is a great challenge, and that's why I'm still doing this because I love the challenge of this thing.
Isn't it interesting? Because I love what you said right there. It's almost like because you're performing with Gene, it pushes you to become a better musician yourself. Like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I got to meet Gene right here, you know? Oh, okay, we got to raise the bar. Like it,
Yeah.
I think you found the perfect companion as far as like composing music with someone like Gene. And he's been around the block. You know
I
this.
know, I know. I really get along with Gene really well. I think he and I like just connect on a very calm and kind of like a musical spiritual level. He is like a Zen octopus back there playing the drums. He's just so calm. And every once in a while, he'll make a note. He'll go, Brendan, have you thought about? And I'll go, what is it? Whatever it is, it's something I didn't think about. And it's probably a good note about something relating to the show. Or he'll say, hey, let's take the count off out of this because we don't need the audience to know that this song's coming. So we're gonna have to do all the counting on our own. We won't hear that thing. It's a little bit of a scary idea of just bursting into a song at some point, but let's do it. Let's try it. And he's right. And we keep doing these things that are just a little bit more difficult, and it keeps making the show better. And so he's like, he's got a real good brain. And when he starts speaking, I shut my mouth and listen.
That's a great, and thank you for sharing all that, by the way, Brandon. It's just someone working with someone like Gene, right? I feel like this is a
Yeah.
commonality here from a lot of musicians. You're pushing each other to be better. And I feel like in a way it's the other way around. Gene would probably be like, man, Brandon, what a mastermind. Like we see that, right? You guys push each other to become better musicians, and here's the final product of everything that's been accumulated over the
Yeah.
last, a decade plus.
I mean, at first, I think Gene, um, I mean, I remember like our first recording day, we had a really good day where oh, that's right. I had an opportunity to write a song. Again, this is such early years that this was such an exciting opportunity for me that somebody said, hey,
Yeah.
would you like to be on the European version of the Saw 3 soundtrack? If you can write a song today and get it to me by tonight or whatever, then we can do that. And
Okay.
I was like, the Saw 3 soundtrack in Europe? That sounds amazing. I was so excited. I was like, oh, wow. So I wrote a song that
What year
night.
was this?
This is like probably 2006. It's probably 20 years ago. I think I did this probably exactly 20 years ago because we went
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
studio
okay.
at the end of 2006, and so yeah, so it was like in December maybe of
Okay.
2006. And then so we went in the first day and I said, "Hey, before we do all this Deathclock stuff, let's do this song first." And it was a song that was called Hatred Copter off the first record.
Yeah.
And I ended up putting on the Deathclock record because I was like, because I sang on it because I don't know if there's going to be there's like melodic vocals by I guess Pickles, but it wasn't going to be any of that. I was
It's a
just thought
great
it
song if anyone
was
hasn't
a
heard
song. I'm just
it.
and then Gene listened to the demo and I showed him this and that, and then it was a really really easygoing conversation. And by the end of that, we recorded it so fast, and I wrote the lyrics fast, and I sang it fast, and I played the guitar solo fast, and I did everything. And by the end of the day, we were sitting there listening to his song, going like, "Nice to meet you. What a cool song. This is going to be fun. Let's keep doing this." So it just set the table for creative energy that was really fun. And my job from Metalocalypse, from the writing side to the scripting side to talking to animators and trying to kind of describe what we would be seeing is my role is to start a conversation and if so and basically lay down a gauntlet saying, okay, here's my idea. Your job as a bass player, as a drummer, as an animator, as an actor,
Hmm.
or whatever it is that you are, that whatever your creative instrument is, your job is to beat my idea with a cooler idea. But I have to have an idea first to start the conversation. Can you beat it? And will it work? And so
Yeah.
that's how we do it. That's usually so when I program drums for Gene to listen to, I go, this is just where the snares are, and this is basically an idea of this. Forget about these fills, forget about that. This is the energy. Can you beat it with something cooler? And so he'll go, sometimes he'll go immediately and beat it with something cooler, or sometimes he'll go, I think what you got is working. And I'll go, okay, cool. At least we had a conversation about it. So that's the idea. It's really simple. It's like I put myself in the hot seat to come up with a thing, and then I go to from an actor to an animator to, to the art department of Metalocalypse. I'll just go, here's an idea. I see, Dethklok's house as being something close to Wayne Manor. And then Antonio Canobio, who's the art director, goes, I have an idea of an upside down Viking boat. Take a look. And I go,
Oh
you
yeah.
just beat my idea, so you win.
I do want to talk about the tour, but two things that jump out at me as you're discussing this amazing information. You know, way ahead of its time. That's the thing I'm thinking of, right? Isn't it interesting, Brendan, that now we live in that age where you're talking about putting up a screen in front of all these fans who come to your shows. Now that's all we do, right? That's all we
Yeah,
do on
that's
the
all.
phone.
Yeah,
But that's what you started out with. Like it's like you
yeah,
predicted the future, and now it fits just like perfectly with when I was at that show, when I saw you guys in 2023, there were kids at these shows. They were just looking up at this cartoon, this animation. There's like this was something maybe they haven't been exposed to, at least in heavy metal and
yeah.
in certain aspect. You talk about gorillas, we talk about, so many other, artists in different genres may do that same thing. I begin to think if did you feel pressure early on, Brendan, to prove maybe Dethklok belonged in the metal world because it was very unorthodox, at least from what
Yeah,
I saw at the time when I came out in '06. I mean, this is just me
yeah,
watching you guys on Cartoon Network, and
yeah.
then you guys translating into something so spectacular as bringing it to the big stage and not just like regular concert stages. I mean, like massive arenas now at this point.
Well, I mean, we're at the time there is I think I had to think from the point of view of my 14-year-old self who's
Hmm.
got a frown on his face and he's got his arms folded and he's watching his show and he's not thinking it's working. And I got to talk to that guy every single day. And so I
Yeah.
think from his point of view, like I thought that, well, the audience could potentially just not, could refuse us. They could think that this is a joke in the world of heavy metal. And the idea is, how do you get past that? And I go, well, you make everybody in on the joke, first of all. So talking about the TV side of things, how do I involve King Diamond, Cannibal Corpse, Metallica, Enslaved,
Yeah, dude.
Mastodon, all these different bands. How do I get all these guys participating in the comedy? And so they get a playground where they get to be funny, they get to be showcased as being because as you know, you've hung out with so many musicians, they've got good senses of humor. Um, and they like being funny. That's how you pass the time in a tour bus is by watching Monty Python or old Simpsons episodes or something like that. So I thought it's everyone's illusion about what heavy metal is, being brooding and dark and self-serious is cool and part of it. And that's part, and I want that to be in my heavy metal. I think that's cool. How do we ride the line and and then again, like it's changed a lot. I think just as far as being a live performer that's a little bit more of a perfectionist, I was just trying to like sink or swim on stage. But I had Gene Hoglan back there and we were playing with cool bands and we had good front of house people. But now I listen to like I'm in ears and I can hear every little thing in my guitar playing and I can hear Gene's kicks and if I'm lining up as tightly as possible. So that would grow from our first live outing till now. So yeah, but I that's my thought
Yeah,
process
yeah, yeah.
basically. Yeah,
Hey, Brendan, you're responsible for a lot of late night laughs for me and my brother. Okay, so what I love is that you kind of just not just me, but a whole a generation of metalheads. This may sound cliche, but you really did bring that humor into heavy metal that we may not were maybe was prepared for. And then when we got exposed to it, like, holy shit, and then bands like, of course, you mentioned Mastodon, Cannibal Corpse. So many bands came to the forefront. You're like, this is what Deathklok is doing. Let's bring it to, our side. A lot of bands
Yeah.
took that from you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, like,
Oh,
for lack of a better term, not take that, but they took what they learned from what you created into their set, and then now it's like there's so many bands are bringing the humor into the music, which is when I think about that, Deathklok was the band that got it done for me. So,
that's cool.
and
Yeah.
I'm just one of millions of people. I'm just telling you from what I'm hearing, also from other fans who've been exposed to your music when I grew up with alongside the same time they did. So,
That's really cool to hear. It was all part of a Machiavellian plan. Like seriously, I was like I said, and it was a plan that all happened. Like there's one simple logic from if we get the show and we get the music and we get the music, we do the live thing, and that all makes total sense. Every once in a while, I'll have an idea where I go, I can't really see the ending of it. I have to eliminate some speed bumps
hmm,
that are stopping me from getting to that final thing, which is basically the live show. This one was just super clean to me and it was making sense early on. And I thought, and even like starting out in comedy, starting out as as a musician, I thought at some point I'd love to do a project that is so music heavy that just is labor intensive, but it's the fun labor.
yeah.
It's not like, oh no, I have to do this. It was always like, oh my God, can you believe I get to do this? That I created a job, the ultimate job for me, where I get to be funny and then I get to play sweep arpeggios. Like, how do that's the ultimate job I can think of, which is another reason I keep Deathklok around because I do have projects that are like ideas that could be, service both parts of my brain, but Deathklok really does it all, where I get to do character stuff, which I really like to do, is to live inside of a character and be a character for a while. And then I get to write jokes and I get to work with great comedians and writers and artists. It's just like the perfect, from my brain, it's the perfect cross section and it's a perfect job.
When you're
So it's
compo
it's fun. What's that?
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but
No,
my
that's right.
mind is about to blow up. But when you're composing, are you thinking like Brendan the musician or like the characters inside Death Clock?
There are times when I'm writing lyrics, I think about what would Nathan Explosion do, and that's what I have to do. So I think like this is his mindset. So you have to kind of be in that character. So when vocalizing, I'm by myself. There's never anybody around. There never has been anybody around. I've done all my vocals alone, except for that first day, probably with Gene, where
Yeah.
I had like a deadline by 24 hours. This song's got to be out. It's got to be mixed and mastered and out. So up until that point, like I spent a lot of time by myself. And when I think about music, there are two things that happen. What would Death Clock do? And then secondly, does it pass my own personal test of would I listen to this? Would I get through the entire song of this piece? Would I? Because I mean, I'm sure someone sent you music before where you have a timeline and you're like, 18 seconds and you're thinking, we're in trouble. I'm bored.
Hmm.
And there's another 4.5 minutes left.
Yeah.
And what am I going to do? So I
Yes.
I think and it all goes through personal taste. What would I like to hear? What is this combination of chords that I want to hear? Because I have no melody in the vocal, what can I put in the guitars that would make your ear go, "Oh, there's music here," So those are simple, simple thoughts that cross my mind, and it's usually that kind of. And then at the same time, writing music. Sometimes you just get lucky. I feel like I'm at a slot machine and I get like, oh, every once in a while I'll get like, a cherry, an orange, and a shoe. I go, and pull it again. I got two cherries. I can work with that. All
Yeah.
right, here we go. I got lucky. Let's turn this last patch into a third cherry,
Yeah.
and I'll get a jackpot.
Speaking of a jackpot, let's get to Amon Clock Conquest Tour because
Yeah,
we got to talk
absolutely.
about this tour with Amon Amarth. This kicks off April 15th in Phoenix, ends in May 21st in Vegas, right? Did I?
Yes, but
Okay.
but we have just added several
Yes.
more shows.
Yes, you did.
So
The 20-year anniversary.
exactly. So it's Death Clock headliner shows. We were hoping to be able to do some of this stuff with the Amon Clock Conquests. What is it called? The regional regionality
Yeah.
clause. They may have
Okay.
played there too early or too late or something. So
Right.
Death Clock is like we're definitely not leaving this part of America out. So we've got to go and say hello to our friends on the West Coast and up in Seattle and adding one in Chicago, all that stuff. So Amon Clock. It's to me what we want to do when we build a live show. It's like that baby metal show. How do we entertain people with severely entertaining bands where every band on the lineup, you've got to see them all. You got to get there early. You got to see Castle Rat. You got to see Amon Amarth, and you got to see us. We want to give you like a dazzling Las Vegas style, just crazy entertainment in the heaviest way possible. And I think between Amon Amarth's great music and their outstanding stage show, our crazy bombastic drooling hypnosis that we leave you in, and Castle Rat. That's why when we said how do we celebrate our 20 years, I thought maybe we'll do a couple shows, and then this idea kept building. So it's this kind of Goldilocks situation with really great other bands that I'm always looking for. So that's how this whole thing happened. And that's seriously, we want to entertain you within an inch of your life so you leave drooling and spat out of like a tunnel, a time warp, and just don't know which way is up.
God, foaming at the mouth, dude. I know you're not coming through Dallas, man. Are you coming through Oklahoma City? Oh, dude, I
We
gotta get out there now. I
Yeah,
gotta,
check
gotta,
out.
gotta
Well,
get out.
here's what I would say because I do have to go to another interview.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
go to deathclocklive.com and check out all of our dates because we
yeah.
are coming to a town near you, and some of them may be at festivals, some of them may be with the Amon Clock Conquest, and some of them may be with Death Clock solo live shows with special guests who are lining up right now that I'm very
Yeah.
excited about.
Brendon,
So check that out, deathclocklive.com.
do you have 2 minutes or do you have to bounce right now?
I have to bounce to get to the next one,
Okay.
but I can answer one question really quickly.
I was just gonna ask if you go back and give your 2006 version of this version that I'm seeing right now. If you could go back to that version and give yourself advice, what would that be?
Oh, geez.
I don't mean to
Probably
keep you.
I wouldn't be able to I wouldn't be able to encapsulate that in 2 minutes. How
I
can
know,
I
I know, I
correct
know.
an idiotic like 30-year-old? A million things I would do differently. I mean, but at the same time, I wouldn't, from this point of view, I'm so glad we got to make this crazy project in the way that we wanted to make it. It doesn't happen in television that often. We got to be creative on terms that we thought were exciting and important creatively. That doesn't happen that often, especially in this world of disposable entertainment where things feel disposable. We have something that we want to keep alive and precious and present, even though it's the stupidest project in the world. So that's the idea. And we're lucky to have seriously, it's like we feel like this crazy warped plant that grew out of the concrete that kind of is still alive and subsiding somehow, or nobody watered it or anything. It's just that it's there still and it's unique and no one else is doing it. So that's our fun.
Brendan, we'll stay in touch. I don't mean to keep you again. I apologize. The I'm on Clock tour kicks off April 15th. April 15th. Sorry, I'm stumbling my words. Everyone, please go check out this tour. You heard it from Brendan himself. Stay in touch, man, dude. This was great. I'll see you on the road. Pretty sure, 100%.
Awesome, awesome. You got to come to a show. You got
I
to
will.
come. All right.
I'll see you then, Brendan. All right. Talk
All
to you
right. I'll
later.
see you later.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Interview Under Fire podcast. If you guys liked what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. And please leave a 5-star review as that helps us tremendously. If you'd like to check out more, visit www.interviewunderfire.com or our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And finally, we want to thank you all for the support you've been giving us. Keep it burning.